Hey, welcome back, everybody. My name is Darson Grantham, and this is the Market Makers of Iowa podcast of real estate. And today we have a guest up from Ames, but does a lot of business in the Des Moines Metro too. It's Kyle Van Winkle. Kyle's got a cool story of owning CrossFit gym, owning a Kosama gym, and just generally growing a network of people in a community around himself and kind of parlaying that into real estate. So it's a fun one today. We talk about, how his business has grown, how he's built systems, how his wife was his best and most successful hire. And we kind of dig all into that. So if that is interesting to you, please join and we'll welcome Kyle. Okay, Kyle, I appreciate you joining me. Tell me a little bit about where you were at before you got into real estate and, what your experience was before you jumped into the real estate agent business.
Yeah. First of all, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Before I was in real estate, I had coached college football at Colorado State for a little while. Moved back to Ames is when I met my wife and ended up opening up the Kosama gym that we talked about. Got that going, kind of got worn out, tired, and then I decided, great idea to open up a CrossFit gym instead. So opened that, sold the Kosama, opened the CrossFit. One of my clients was like, hey, if you ever don't do this, you should do real estate. And I was kind of back and forth with it and took him up on the offer, got my license, and started off my first year at Hunziker. And then Shane Torres approached me, and I've been, the last 7 years at Remax Concepts now, up in Ames.
What about, let's step back, the gym, you 2 gyms and then into real estate. What was it about the gyms? What do you learn from business there that translated to real estate? Yeah,
the gyms really helped me learn to connect people and the community of it. And so it was fabulous just because, by the time I got into real estate, I had a gym of Kosama that probably had 300 members. And then the CrossFit gym probably had another 100. So, when I got into real estate, I had 400 people that trusted me already.
Yeah, they're already paying you. So they had paid you in the past.
Right. And they're like, hey, you know what? If you're doing this, I want to support you in this as well. So my first year into real estate transition was actually, I wouldn't say easy, but smooth. Yeah. Just because I had that trust and that clientele built up already.
What year was that?
2016, I believe. 2016.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's interesting too. CrossFit's a different breed in and of itself too.
Totally.
We did CrossFit before we had kids, and Luke Ryland was we were at 80-35, right?
Yep.
And one thing I remember, I learned so much from him, but one thing was every time someone went in the gym, he said hi, and when you left, he said hi.
Yep.
Every single time.
Oh yeah.
Is that something they taught in CrossFit, or is it just a community building thing that you just started?
I think that was probably more of a Luke thing, but just building what you're about in that gym, and just carried over with me into my real estate world.
Yeah, so cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so real estate, 2016. What is one of the things we like to talk about on the podcast is just working with other agents, working together well, working together poorly. So one of the main reasons I have this podcast is I want to learn and teach others and teach agents what is it about working with another agent that makes you know, hey, this is a good agent and I want to do more business with them, versus this agent, this was a struggle. And usually everyone says communication.
Oh yeah.
So when you say communication, elaborate.
Communication is definitely a key on that one. Timeliness of that communication. If we're going back and forth and on an offer, and then all of a sudden you don't respond for multiple hours, something feels weird there, a little fishy.
The fishy thing, that's real. It's in college, this is funny. In college, I had a girlfriend at the time, and she would get pissed when I would do the 3 dots after a word.
Oh, yeah.
She's like, why the ellipsis? And I was like, I don't know. I just
That's just
did
what
it
is.
right?
Yeah.
So it's she's like, just weird. And I was like, fishy. And I was like, it's the same feeling when agents are talking, and then you're blank for 3 hours, unless they tell you. So that's so true.
Yep. So that part of the communication, I also think an agent that can communicate with my assistant is also very key, because there'll be times where she's asking for stuff, and if they aren't willing to send to her so she can keep the transaction moving along nicely, that's usually a little bit of a red flag,
Or to she asked the question and they text you the answer.
Right.
You're like, no, not how this works.
Yes, we're trying to streamline these processes to make this smooth for everybody, and so they got to be open on that.
Very good. Speaking of the streamline the process, when did you at what point in the real estate career did you realize having a process to the transaction or to your business was important, because so many agents don't comprehend that real estate is a business.
Yeah. Probably 2016, 17 is when I started. Probably like 2020 is when my wife got involved, Jenna.
Okay.
And she really brought all the system process in for me because she saw me growing pretty rapidly. And then she's like, hey, you know, you're not keeping up. I'm not seeing you. The kids aren't seeing you. Shane Torres, I don't know if you met Shane.
Yep.
Awesome dude. You should have him on.
Yep.
Called me into his office one day and was like, hey, let's have a meeting, check in, blah, blah, blah. And basically called me an idiot for not having systems and processes and an assistant in place to be able to like streamline everything for me. He's like, you're going to burn yourself out. You'll be out of this business in the next 2 years. And he was right. And, you know, once we got those in place and my assistant in place and Jenna has the marketing, like business doubled, tripled, you know, it just blew up. So it's worth it. I would tell everybody, get an assistant who knows what they're doing, get a marketing director.
So you kind of had a cheater system because it was your wife.
Yes.
She was the first person that you kind of had bring into the business and help you? Or did you have another admin?
No, it was her.
It was her.
Yeah, it was her.
And then she helped hire your admin.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember. Yeah. We got the phone call that that our current admin, Dory, was looking for a job through Michelle Kelly down at Concepts. And we met her at the cafe up in Ames. And I was like, dude, you're hired. Jenna's like, she's hired. She's opposite of what I am. She's very structured.
Yeah.
Where I'm like scatterbrained, ADHD, you know. And so she keeps me on track every day. She tells me my calendar. She reminds me when I'm like today. She's like, hey, you got Darson in the next 40 minutes. You need to leave.
Yeah.
So, yeah, she's fantastic.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah.
So that relationship is your wife, Jenna, is she still in your business?
Yeah, she is. She does all of our marketing and then systems and processes as well. So she helps onboard some of the agents and just runs our weekly team meetings, stuff like that. Yeah, she's big time.
Cool. Man, I usually ask, like, how did you hire that first staff? Like, what did that look like? But she was
fell
built
into
for it.
Yeah. You know, I would say her background from Workiva definitely helped her. And she also had like a fitness background, like working with people. So she's definitely a people person. But she prefers like the behind the scenes stuff where I hate doing paperwork. I hate behind the scenes. I hate Google spreadsheets and Excel and all that. I mean, I'd fall asleep as soon as she starts talking about it, I'm out, right? Like no interest, but talking to people, working with people, I can do that all day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So your business, tell us a little bit about where were you at for the first 4 years, like number of transactions, generally like lead source, kind of how are you doing business versus today and like what that looks like?
Oh man, you probably need to ask Jenna that.
Roughly, and you don't have to. I mean, stay as private or as open as possible.
No. That's not. I just don't know the numbers. First couple years,
no one's gonna hold you to it, and no one's gonna call you out. I promise.
First couple years, we were probably selling 40, 50, maybe 40 houses a year, like right around that mark. Now I think we average like 100, 110, 115, right around there.
And you operate as a team, multiple agents. You're the lead team, or the agents? How's that work?
So it's under the Van Winkle real estate team. Yeah. So I'll be the head agent, and then I have Mike Orr as a buyer's agent. He's also a videographer. So that's fantastic, right? Like any listings, he hits it. I have Kim Stammer, who's a younger agent. He's a go-getter. He'll do anything we ask. He just wants to be involved, running signs, open houses, new clients. He's all over it. And then recently we added Kyle Barnes to our team. He's fantastic. He is from South Africa, so he's got a little bit of like the accent. All the clients love it. Yeah. But good family man. He's on it. He used to race cars, and so he's super competitive too. One of the things I look for in my team though is like for people to have some sort of like competitive background. Yeah. So Kim's basketball, Mike's basketball. I was obviously football and smaller sports. My wife, soccer, basketball. Yeah. And Kyle race cars, all that stuff. So we enjoy that.
That competitive nature, like it influences the atmosphere for sure.
Totally. And it's something I wouldn't trade.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Cool. What else? So as you've had your business and ran your business, when leads come in, or how have they come in? Have you been a big Zillow? Have you been big, Google AdWords? Has it been a lot of Sphere database? Sounds like you started database, but like help the younger agent know like the evolution of that, or at least of what you did.
Yeah, I'm probably a little bit of an anomaly in there. I've never paid for Google or not Google, Zillow, or Realtor.com like leads.
Me either. Well, I did Realtor, but I never got it. But
you never get anything from it.
It was my fault. I couldn't close anything.
Yeah.
Cold leads are hard for me.
So all of my leads, I would say, are sphere of influence and referral.
Almost everything.
Every single one.
What have you got to do something to nurture that? There has to be like
What do you mean?
Like, what do you do to make sure they know you?
I just get my name out there.
Doing what?
I'm meeting people. Well, I coached high school sports for a long time. That's my first year. Not youth sports. Now I'm coaching my kids. Part of that stuff. The gyms obviously was big. You know, one other thing that I had going for me is my father was head football coach at Rolling Story for 48 years, something like that.
Just a known name. Yep.
My mom was on the head of the cancer floor for a long time, and then going to Iowa State, playing football there and all that, like that kind of name recognition.
Yeah.
So I got a lot of people that way as well. But we're really good about, you know, if the client has a good experience, asking for referrals, saying, hey, you know, anybody else coming or going that's looking to buy, sell, how can we help them? You know, we want to be a part of that, make it, you know, transactions smooth and easy for them too.
Yes.
And so I would say 99% of ours is sphere of influence or referral based.
How do you teach that to other agents that join your team?
Yeah, just we get them involved. Yeah. So like Kim.
Involved is the answer.
Yeah, Kim involved in the community. So Kim, we just met with him. He coaches basketball now, middle school basketball. And his next step is like he's going to start doing ticket taking at other athletic events or work concession stand. Kyle Barnes on our team, he's really big into his church. And so he gets a lot of people that he works with there and just networks through there. Mike Ward's a basketball coach as well, so he's reaching out to these families. It's just building that trust, you know?
Trust and involved in the community.
Yeah.
That's cool. We haven't had anyone on that's really like like grown a team or grown their business doing that, like a lot of database stuff, or, you know, you're doing events for them, but not it's volunteer. You're sort of maybe getting paid a little bit, but that's cool.
And I mean, we still do events. Like, you know, we host client events every year. Sometimes we'll rent movie theaters out. Sometimes we rent a bar and have food and drinks and band play, stuff like that. You know, all the normal things, but it's really really just hammering home that like, hey, we're here to serve you guys. Yep. And I would say we do more than just the real estate transaction. So like we have the dump trailer, we have a moving trailer. Like if they need help with mowing or, you know, all these different things that we will step in and be like, hey, we can help you with this or connect you with somebody that can. Yeah. And I think that goes a long way.
The real estate resource. Yeah.
One of our big slogans is like connecting community is what my wife puts out on a lot of our stuff. And that's really what my job is. You know, I'm just connecting people. And then in return, they come back and like, hey, I want you to sell my house, or I want you to buy this for us, you know?
Yep. Yeah. For sure. At what point in your business did you realize you had to do client events? Or did you do them from the beginning?
That is a great question. I think we started doing client events the very first year.
Wow,
I think we rented
really
a movie theater the first year. I think we did Lion King. We rented out a couple theaters for that, and just we made sure there was a popcorn on every seat. You know, made it family friendly. Had the backdrop. You know, they could take the picture in front of it. All that. I think that was our very first client event.
That's cool.
Yeah,
fun. It took me a while. To realize I was a pivotal part of the business.
Yeah, no, you got to do it because people want to see you and they want to introduce you to their other, you know. And we make our client events like, hey, bring your friends and family.
Yes.
Like, bring
it's
friends.
Not just 100 tickets. It's
bring friends. You know, and like for the movie theater, it's like, hey, you know, if this one fills up, we'll rent another one. So I think we ended up doing 3 theaters at that time. So yeah, it was fun. It was cool.
Cool. Okay, back to the agent. Sorry, I get sidetracked on the marketing and the sales and lead stuff because I super love it. But agents working together. What about with lenders? When you are working with lenders, how do you know, or what do you do to try to prep the lender that you're working with to, hey, this is how we do business. This is the system, the process we want to follow, and like, you know, that's a good one. Or how do you manage the ones that are kind of a struggle?
Yeah, so I've had very good luck with some of the local lenders around. They are very good about verbal communication and then written communication. So they'll follow back up with the written, and that also goes to my assistant and or whoever team member is on that transaction, obviously, and to the client. So if we can find an agent or a lender that's really good at that, that's fantastic. Have you ever talked to, I can't even say his last name. It's like a weird German name, Kyle Gudenfig?
I don't think so.
He's
an agent or lender?
Lender.
Okay.
Tall Money Man. You should have him on. He has his own podcast.
Okay.
I was on that too.
He has his own podcast?
Yeah. He would be fantastic for you.
A local lender podcast?
Yes.
Nice. Okay.
You would love him. He calls me every Monday, no matter what. If we maybe didn't have a deal for 6 months, he still calls every Monday. Hey man, checking in. Let me know if I can help you in any way, blah, blah, blah. Here are the rates. Here this, here's this. Let me know if I can help you. Appreciate it, man. Yeah. And then he sent me stuff. We send him stuff all the time. He's fantastic. But he's always there. He's always communicating. With my clients, he checks in every 2 days. Just to like, hey, even if there's no news, right? No news is good news sometimes.
Yep.
He's fantastic.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'll give you his info so you can have him on.
I'll go find him.
Yeah, he's good.
We can do a little research.
Yeah.
Plus, another podcast, one of the reasons I started this, because the local lender, the local, knowledge about real estate, just it's tough.
Yeah.
I know Hubbard, I think Nick Roth at Hubbard has one, started one recently too. So starting to get, picking up traction. I love it. More the merrier.
Yeah. No, picking up.
Cool. What about, let's see here. What about our industry? I had an agent on a while back. I don't remember who it was, but I asked, a newer agent, what would you tell them to join the industry or about the industry? And she's like, don't join.
Really?
And I was like, what? Why? Because I'm an eternal optimist. I think that it is sunny out when the clouds are really dark. So I'm like, on the other side of the clouds, there's a sun.
There's a sun.
So like the industry, what's your kind of take on it as a newer agent? What are the things to think about, or how would you process that? Yeah,
I would tell, in the current market, I would tell the agent, you got to see it's the long game. It's not the short game, right? If you're looking for like overnight, like big cash in your money in your pocket, stuff like that doesn't happen, right? Maybe during the COVID time, when people were joining left and right. But
it's still only like 60 days before you get paid.
Right. So that's, I don't think people understand that. I would say you got to be willing to play the long game. But at the same time, like the long game's awesome. You know, I love making my own hours. I love working with the people I want to work with. If I don't really want to work with that client, I'll refer them off, right? Or if we want to take a vacation or something like that, like we get our stuff covered, but we do the vacation. And that was the big one for me, is like, I want to be able to make my own hours. I specifically remember, like, as a kid, I was had my license, going to the orthodontist. I was driving there, and I'm like, because my dad was a teacher, my mom worked at the hospital, so like they worked set hours all the time. And my dad was coach, so like he would leave the house at 7. He wasn't home until probably 7 each night. My mom, 6:30 a.m. to 4:30, whatever, like no matter what, like clockwork, right? And I remember driving to the orthodontist and being like, look at all these people, like, what are they doing? Like, don't they have a job, And then I started learning more, and I'm like, well, that person's out, they work some at night and they do this. And I'm like, well, I want to be able to do that. And so that freedom was like what drew me into being able to either own my own business or entrepreneurship, real estate, all that stuff, having rentals, so on.
That's interesting. So it's almost like the pendulum, like your parents were on one side of that pendulum and you're like, well, I don't want to do that. What's this other side? Yeah.
I'm probably the black sheep of my family. My sister's a teacher. My dad was a teacher. His dad was a teacher. My mom was a nurse. I got a teaching degree, and I was like, I can't do this. So now I teach people to buy houses.
I mean, I've always said, like, some of the best real estate agents are teachers.
Oh yeah. I mean, my sister would be awesome, but she's really good at what she does at her own story. So yeah. Good.
Okay, what else? We can edit this out, but I think I've answered. I mean, what else about the real estate industry?
What's your biggest hurdle in real estate?
You want to ask me that?
Yeah.
My biggest hurdle right now, I'm growing my team.
Yeah.
And so understanding what the team model that I want to follow.
Yep.
Because it's super, I've seen so many agents fail at the team model.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, granted, I'm willing to fail. I don't need to fail for fun.
Yep.
So I'm a quick start mover, but when it involves other people, I struggle with moving super quick. So right now I'm kind of just defining what kind of agent I want to have on, what I would like, who I want to interview, who I want to just avoid. Right. Yeah. And also before I did this research, I didn't realize that being on a team made so much sense.
Gotcha.
For an agent. Cause I was like, I would never, I would never.
Yeah.
And it's taken me 5 years to be like, okay, there's a place for agents on teams.
Oh yeah. And I didn't want to be on a team. I wanted to lead a team.
I know. That's what I mean. And I struggled to want to lead a team because I was like, who would makes no sense for someone to want to be on one. Mm-hmm. I couldn't it was a limiting belief. Yep. And what flipped the trigger was, the best man at my wedding, he was like, hey, he's a good salesperson. And he's like, I'm looking for a job where I can just, I have 4, 5, 6 weeks off a year. I want to make $200,000 a year and work 40 hours a work week. And I was like, I mean, you could do that in real estate. He's like, no, you guys work crazy. I'm like, not on a team, you wouldn't. And he's like, well, how could I make $200,000 a year? And I was like, well, the math says about 14 million of volume. And he's like, well, could I do that? And I was like, well, that's what I did the first 3 years of my business. Right. And he goes, what were your expenses? And I was like, well, about 50%.
But if you're on a team.
Yeah, then it's 50%, right? Yep. And he's like, oh. And then I was like, oh, that makes complete sense. Yep. So obviously doing 50 transactions, 14 million, like that's a lot of work. But if you have a team supporting you on the back end and you're only doing lead gen, like that's totally doable.
Do you make when you're doing your team, do you make them do a DISC assessment?
Yeah. So Keller has a KPA.
Okay.
So the way that works is basically all the jobs in real estate, it says where you would fall like high, medium, low in the real estate job.
Oh, perfect.
And so like a buyer's agent is going to look different than a listing agent.
Yep.
Right. Yep. So, and I'm just starting, like I haven't even hired anyone. Okay. So that's my hurdle. Like I just started even researching it 2 months ago.
You have an assistant?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh, so I've had an
assistant since day one, like month 3.
Okay.
Because I was like,
best move you ever made.
I'm so bad. So in the financial industry, financial services world, before I was at Workiva, I saw agents that would get an admin and their business would triple. Yep. And I was like, that's smart. And so when I came into real estate, I was like, this is no different.
It's scary though. Like at first you're like, that person's like livelihoods depending on me.
I eased into it. I basically hired a part-time person that it was COVID and they didn't have a job elsewhere. Oh. And she ended up being okay. She ended up being an agent. She got licensed and everything. And now she works for a property manager. Nice. But like she didn't want the risk of being an agent. She just wanted to work for one. So it was good. It was good for the time being. But I just literally needed someone to just do stuff that I couldn't get to. Yep. Because my first year I did 55 transactions. Yeah. And I was like,
I think that's where I was too.
This is bonkers.
Yeah.
Like the money coming in and where it's going and in paperwork. Yep. Not a paperwork guy. Yep. My broker, she's like,
I don't know if any agent's really a paperwork person.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my big hurdle is like, what's that look like? But the admin I have right now, she's been here with me 4 months and she's killer. She's super blessed, very good. Went through a very stringent hiring process and good. So yeah.
The first time we added an agent to our team, the first 3 I failed, and so like, one, maybe I wasn't ready to lead a team. 2, I didn't have the systems process in place to make them successful. Right. So I owe them definitely an apology, and they're all doing different things now, but now we have that,
you can bring someone on it. Yeah.
We can bring them on and plug and play pretty easily, but they still got to want it, right? Mm-hmm. Kind of reap what you sow type thing.
That was the other reason my struggle with the team is like, I don't want to be around people that aren't killers. Yep. Like, I just don't want to be around lazy people. And so the more research I did, I was like, oh, I can require a transaction per year. Like they have to do 12 or 24. And I was like, oh, well then if they're doing that, like they're working.
Yeah. No, you're right. One a month. It's not a big deal.
Oh my goodness. That's lazy. Yeah. Well, how about you? What's your big hurdle? It's a great question, by the way. Thank you.
Big hurdle right now. I don't know what my biggest hurdle at the moment Maybe just, I feel like there's been a lot of weird transactions lately. I don't know if it's like with the market or the interest rates or what, but like got some clients asking for some really weird things like in the transactions.
That you can share. What can you like?
Oh, I'm trying to think. It's been so weird lately. You know, like I had one client like want the people to include like basically every piece of the furniture in the house, right? And I'm like, no, they're moving. They take all that with. I'm like, you might be able to like offshoot, like, hey, we'll pay you outside of closing for the couch or
a sale.
And they're like, no, we want everything included. And I'm like, well, then you're going to need to offer like
more
crazy, and appraisers don't like that, right? And all that stuff. The bank doesn't like it. So that was one of them.
We sold a few short-term rentals in doing that.
Yeah,
you write it right, and no one cares.
Yeah, you're probably right. We bought our Airbnb that way.
Yeah.
And it worked out well for us, you know, because we were on the market like that with it.
Yeah, so. And then when you can finance the $25,000 that it would have cost, and you just roll it in the mortgage, and it still appraises.
It's a nice way to go.
Yeah. So, how about with the buyer agent representation form? I've had a few like recently of where someone comes and talks to me and says, you know, I want to work with you, and I'm like, well, have you signed with someone else? Well, yeah. Well, then you can't work with me.
Right.
I can't do it. My hands are tied. I can't do anything.
Yeah, it's tough. I just lost out on one that was like a $1.4 million one because of that.
On the buy side? Yeah, buy side then.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, it is what it is. You know,
what was the learning takeaway? Can you share?
Learning takeaway. I think a lot of buyers don't understand what they're signing. You know, like agents just flopping from, well, I have to show you this house. You have to sign this, you know, and so then now they're locked in. Anyone that I do, I give them the out and just be like, hey, if I'm not doing my job as an agent, I want you to let me know. And if you need to go to somebody else, I'm going to let you out of this contract.
I'll cancel on the spot.
I'm not going to hold you hostage to this. I want you to be like, hey, Kyle's my guy because he crushes it, not because I'm stuck in a binding contract, right? So, and I make that clear from the beginning. So most of them sign a year with me right away. And then I just tell them, like, you know, you can just tell me if I'm not doing my job right, you know, and I'm here for you. And I mean, I don't think I've been one person in my real estate career that's like, hey, I think we're gonna go a different direction on this. There was some like big differences, like moral differences, stuff like that. That probably drove that. But yeah,
I've had it with investors. I work with a fair amount of investors, and we found someone else that, you know, we think they can find us a deal faster. I'm like, okay, like finding deals is the hardest part.
Yeah, good luck, man.
Yeah,
you know, wish you luck, and you know, and half the time they'll probably come back around and be like, hey, we went with them, it wasn't great, we want to come back.
I mean, that's all. Like that would be great, and I have maybe one or two of those. I just look at it as it's an abundance mentality of like, I'll just go get another deal and help someone else out. Yeah, like I can only do so much, and I'll just fit another person into so much.
yeah, you're 100% right.
So which is fun. I've enjoyed the EBA process because now I know who's committed to me. Totally. I didn't sign them before. I didn't have anyone sign in, and so it was tougher to work heavily on folks that you didn't know if they were going to work with you. Right. And like I really love finding off market deals. Okay. Like if someone's like, hey, I want this, I will go find the neighborhood and go door knock and find the deal. Yep. Super fun. Some agents are like, well, I'm not doing that much work. And I'm like, now, if they've signed the EBA and they're pre-approved, I'll do that all day long. Well, and as you're going through that door knocking process, you may find one or two other people who are like, hey, we're kind of looking at selling. This might not be the right fit for that person, but you know, we'll call you here in 2 months. Yeah. We've had that happen. That's where I think like the newer agents, that'd be my recommendation for newer agents. Go talk to the seasoned agents in your office and ask them who they have, not who, but what they have EBA signed for. Yep. And say, hey, can I go look for that seller? Because every single of those seasoned agents have more EBA signed than they have time to actually search for. You're probably right. Yep. Besides just an MLS search. Yep. So we found really good luck in door knocking as well. Like when we get a new listing, we'll door knock and just be like, hey guys, we're having an open house. We'd love for you guys to come out, check it out, you know, yada, yada, yada. Next thing you know, there's 3 or 4 people from that neighborhood that are at the open. Right. And they're like, well, we're kind of thinking. So we put them on our Google form, whatever, and follow up. And I say, we got that listing. So it's been good. Yeah. Where's your business going next? Do you have aspirations? I struggle with this personally, but
Yeah. So I'm in the process. We acquired quite a few rentals.
Okay. Yeah, we didn't get on that. Yeah.
Yep. Love them. We're in the process of selling some.
Okay.
We are going to, we bought a storage unit with Marty Healy, actually, so a mutual friend. So there's another one on the horizon that we will be going after that we kind of have like a soft handshake on.
Yeah.
And then, so I'd like to get into some of that commercial side. I would love to have a commercial building, like a sports building, especially up in Ames. It's just,
is there not much up there for that?
Much. Sports Iowa, it is for sale, but it's more than I can afford at the moment. So I'm trying to find some people for that. And
are you able to sell those in 1031 that money in, or is it going to be a different partnership?
For the
rentals into the sports?
So
I'm a nerd on that. Sorry.
We are 1031 our rentals into a lake property.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, and it was my wife and I and her in-laws on the rentals, and so now we're going in on the lake together.
Oh, cool! Because it's got to be same ownership, so you just kept it that way. And that's especially a lake property. You can share that with somebody.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Especially
it'll be fun. And we're looking forward to it.
What lake?
Clear Lake.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Tony and Angie Sly are agents here at KW, and they
a spot up there.
Yes, they do.
We were always going to do Table Rock in Missouri. That's where my family always has gone. My kids are into like every sport possible.
So it's tough to go that far.
And it's like 7 hours, and I just looked at my wife and I'm like, we're never going to get it. Like, and by the time we do get it, I'm going to be old that I can't enjoy it, and I was like, the kids, by the time they're in college and stuff, they're not going to come 7 hours to see us. So I was like, we got to make it accessible. So clearly it's an hour from our doorstep to the lake house. And so I'm like, it's done.
Yeah.
Like, we're doing this.
Good for you guys.
Yeah.
Got that property picked out?
It's done.
Nice.
Yeah, we close December 20th.
Congrats. That's super exciting.
So if you know anybody that wants some rentals, I got a couple coming up for sale. So,
well,
yeah.
Are they single families?
Couple. Some of them are fiveplex, some duplex.
I'll take all those fiveplex and duplexes.
Done. They're yours. Make a deal. Have you ever had to close a deal on a podcast?
I have not yet.
Right? There's your first one, right? You got two.
My wife, I always laugh. I'm like, I like watching people's license plates.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I need a license plate that has something to do with real estate. And that's hard because everyone has something.
Yeah.
I haven't looked into it, but I was like making deals, right? MKNDLS.
Yeah.
Like, I love it.
Make it happen.
So much fun.
Make it happen.
We'll see. Cool. Well, I appreciate you joining. We'll have you on again if we think of something else we want to talk about. But
That'd be great.
It's been fun getting to know you, hearing about your business, sharing, what agents can do to grow their business, and they don't have to buy leads and pay for leads, and they can pay for them with their time and involved in the community. That's super cool.
Yeah. No, I appreciate you having me.
Cool. Thanks, Kyle.
Yep.
Cool.